Hello, financial advisors. This is Dr. Jon Randall, the founder of XFA. Many of you have been asking me how we came up with the XFA Growth Model. And it's the first one in our industry to be based on the theory of constraints. Earning a PhD, which really a doctoral dissertation is a research study. You can't just say, I think this. You have to find real data, research, and assemble that to make some kind of case. There's no opinions involved. And when I went through this, I realized that in our industry, there are a lot of opinions being thrown around that are not based on facts. So we really took the same approach, doctoral level research, to build the XFA Growth Model. And the biggest thing we base it on is this theory of constraints. And if you think about building your automobile, there's a whole bunch of steps to build that vehicle. And if there is a constraint in part of the process, it holds back the rest of the process. And the mistake I see financial advisors making in their practices is they're working on things later in the process where their constraints are earlier in the process and they don't realize it, they don't see it. So we really tried to pinpoint what are the most common constraints that are holding practices back in a very specific order. So based on industry research, based on real data from real practices, we pinpointed a small number of areas and a small number of metrics that are the keys to driving more growth and more profitability. The first area is scale. This is like the foundation of building a building or building a house. And scale, the biggest measurement is your revenue per team member, including yourself. The higher this is, the larger your profit margin, period. And a lot of advisors get this one wrong, especially when they start growing and adding other advisors on their team. There's a lot of practices out there that are not as profitable as they could because they don't understand this fundamental constraint. So the biggest constraint within scale is capacity, and it's a two-sided coin. Number one is the owner and founder's capacity. If you're clogged up, guess what? The growth rate stunts. It will slow your business down. The other side of the coin of capacity is leveraging the full capacity of people on your team, especially advisors. This is huge. The only thing that really works is loading them up with over $1 million in revenue, according to industry averages, what the average advisor working for a practice manages for the firm. It's what you can bring to them to service. That is the whole key. So if you want to do multiple millions, the XFA practices that have scaled so quickly and become Barron's top 100 practices, that's really the secret. It's a very critical metric. Then we go around the growth model, client optimization, optimizing what you're doing with clients. This is like the first floor of the building, all right? Everyone wants to start on the second floor of the growth things, which I love, but what you do with clients is critical because it makes that second floor so much better. So client optimization really has to do with increasing your revenue per client. What is your revenue per client? Just take your total revenue, divide it by your number of households, and you'll get that number. The industry average is over 10,000, and it's important to think in terms of revenue per client, not AUM. AUM is what we're trained by big broker dealers to think, but revenue per client is key. This is where you can drive profit margins. So how can you drive that higher? There might be some unprofitable clients in your book clogging up your system. It's very common. Industry studies indicate 91% of financial advisor practices are reporting productivity issues, and the number one reason is too many non-ideal clients. The other ways to control revenue per client is, what are you doing for them? What is your pricing? How does it compare to industry averages? Are there other services and products you can make available to your clients to add additional revenue? This is key. And if you're really good at these, it does drive growth, right? It drives growth and profitability from within, and a lot of practices overlook this. So don't overlook it. It's sitting right here in front of you. It's the easiest way to grow. It's the easiest way to drive profits. And psychologically, many advisors think, I can't do anything different with my existing clients. And that's just a psychological root. It's an anchor in your thinking because your easiest opportunities are with clients. It's a heck of a lot cheaper to do more business with existing clients than to go attract new clients. It's a lot cheaper and it takes a lot less time. Your clients are a phone call away. And there's opportunities sitting with them. There's no practice out there that's captured all the opportunities. Every practice has opportunities. They're just waiting for you to harvest. And XFA's growth guide helps you identify your benchmarking, how you compare to industry averages, and also what your opportunities are. Now, growth is the next area. How do you increase your growth rate? How do you attract new clients and new assets? And I'm talking about good clients to the book, the top of the book. So really, this really has to do with targeting. Who's your ideal client? How do you get more of them? Not average clients in the middle of your book like most advisors bring on. How do you get more at the top of your book? It's a much better business to have less clients that are at the top of your book than a whole bunch of middle clients. So driving this really has to do with targeting, how you frame, and really deploying the attraction methods that are working for financial advisors. I see advisors wasting money, wasting time on approaches that have very low likelihood of working. And this is one of my favorite areas to dive into with advisors to help them see what is working. Don't waste time on the other stuff that is questionable or doesn't work for advisors. Just do what's working in order. Do the number one way that advisors are attracting new clients. If that cup spills over, then we'll go to number two, the second biggest way. When that cup fills over, we'll go to the third biggest way. Larger practices doing over 8 figures do have multiple funnels for new clients coming in. And the more you grow, the more you have to feed the advisors on your team, meaning you're going to need more and more funnels. And it's fun to build those, but one at a time. Advisors make the mistake of trying to do too many things at once, and they're not really good at it. So just be really good at one thing. And when that cup spills over, that's your sign that it's time to go on to the second thing. Now, the way to exponentially grow this is through practice acquisitions. There's advisors out there that are ready to be done. The average age of advisor is around 60. So there's a lot out there that are considering or ready for retirement. But there's younger advisors that are fried. They're done. They don't want to go through the grind again. And if they sell the equity in their practice, they won't have to work again. So they're out there. It's just a matter of how do you find them, how do you negotiate deals, and how do you close those deals. You got to have the capacity, and you got to be really good at client optimization, because it's likely whatever you're buying is not fully optimized. And what a great opportunity. You buy something, you can instantly make it more profitable if you and the advisors on your team are good at client optimization. Now, when it comes to team members, team optimization is the fourth category in the XFA growth model. And this has to do with compensation, which is the number one reason that people leave their jobs. This is a crap show in our industry. And it's really because there's not a lot of information out there. You would have to buy research to know what the heck is going on. And the research is just industry averages and may not apply to your area of the country or your practice or the roles that you're trying to build in your special practice. So just knowing what these are, knowing the best practices and compensating is really key. And this does lead to a win-win scenario where it should be team members should be able to make more than they could on their own working for you, and you should have a profitable arrangement on them. How can you really balance that to maximize the win for them and the win for you as an owner? And then how do you retain them for long-term, right? That's the big metric we look at in team optimization. Are you keeping people, and are they going to be around long-term? So compensation, helping them see what their career path would be, how to lead them. Just there's shortcuts out there. There's a really small number of things that work. And to me, this whole XFA growth model and what we do at XFA, it shortcuts these things. You don't have to become an expert and go through years and years of training to try and become a leader, which at best you'll still be a novice at. There's a very small number of things that actually works and moves the dial to help people on your team develop, get what they want, so that you can get what you want, right? There's a small number of constraints there to overcome, and there's some very easy techniques to apply that'll make this mysterious, difficult thing super easy for you. And this is a cyclical model, you'll notice, because as you double, triple, 10x your practice, you're gonna face completely new sets of problems you didn't even know about. So we know at each revenue level for practice what the typical constraints are you're gonna run into. So we can predict what they might be, but going through a brief assessment, which generates the growth guide, will lead us to what are your constraints. And so this constraint system gives a small number of things for you to overcome in sequence, in a proper order, for you to unlock more growth in your practice. This is how XFA has the fastest growing advisors in the industry. It's through this doctoral level process with PhD rigor to build it, and based on real industry research, real practicality with the hundreds and hundreds of practices that we have the privilege of helping at XFA. What are the small number of constraints that you need to overcome so you can grow faster than you thought in your practice and build more growth and more profitability?